if you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. There's never a dull moment in the NFL offseason, and the Cleveland Browns are right in the thick of it. The team's quarterback room is already overcrowded, but a fresh and wild proposal from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler could throw everything into chaos. Imagine this. Kirk Cousins, a proven veteran with playoff experience, donning the orange and brown. But how? Well, Fowler tossed out the idea of a straight-up swap. Kenny Pickett for Kirk Cousins. It's not your typical trade talk, but then, again, nothing about the Browns quarterback situation has been typical lately. With Deshaun Watson still recovering from that Achilles injury, the Browns are juggling options. Joe Flacco, the ever-reliable veteran, is back. Rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are in the mix. Kenny Pickett, recently added from Pittsburgh, is also competing. But would Cousins really change the equation that much? And more importantly, would Cleveland be willing to pay the price? The connection between Kirk Cousins and Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski is undeniable. Their time together in Minnesota was marked by stability and mutual trust, something this current Browns QB room sorely lacks. Stefanski knows Cousins. He knows what he brings to the table, a smart, disciplined passer who can read defenses and make clutch throws. So if there's any team where Cousins could walk in mid-off season and still have a decent shot at starting, it's Cleveland. But it's not just about familiarity, it's about need. With Deshaun Watson's return timeline still murky and Joe Webb, Flacco more of a temporary fix than a long-term answer, there's a legitimate argument to be made that the Browns could use another steady, experienced hand under center. But would they go so far as to acquire Cousins and pay for the privilege? That's where things get complicated. Enter the financials. The ever-present brick wall in these hypothetical trade dreams. The Falcons, Cousins' current team, reportedly have no interest in paying even a penny of his remaining salary if they ship him off. That's a huge red flag for Cleveland, a team already shelling out a massive sum to Deshaun Watson, who isn't expected to take the field anytime soon. According to Fowler, the only way this deal happens is if Atlanta agrees to front at least $17.5 million of Cousins' guaranteed money for 2025. Otherwise, the Browns would be on the hook for an expense that just doesn't make sense for their current situation. They've already committed heavy resources to Watson, and adding another high-priced quarterback to the mix, even one with Cousins' resume, could create more headaches than it solves. The financial burden could crush this deal before it even gets off the ground. From the Falcons' point of view, the idea of moving on from Cousins so soon is already a bitter pill. After signing him to a hefty contract, Atlanta shocked the NFL world by drafting Michael Penix Jr. in the first round. That move alone hinted at some inner turmoil, or at least a divided vision for the future. But despite that, Atlanta isn't looking to just give Cousins away. They're reportedly either planning to keep him as a high-paid insurance policy or move him to a team that will take on the full weight of his deal. No discounts, no shared payments. That's the message loud and clear. So unless Cleveland wants to step up and absorb Cousins' entire salary, something that seems wildly unlikely, this trade is stuck in the realm of fantasy. It's a great discussion point, but probably not one rooted in reality. Yet, that hasn't stopped fans and reporters from connecting the dots all off season long. Cousins was seen out and about in Cleveland earlier this year, fueling speculation that there might be some smoke to the fire. Photos of him on what looked like a restaurant tour hit social media, and the rumors exploded from there. Multiple insiders have since confirmed that there was at least a flicker of interest from the Browns at some point. Maybe it was exploratory. Maybe it was serious. Either way, it showed that Cleveland had Cousins on their radar. That spark, however faint, adds credibility to Fowler's hypothetical. But again, interest alone doesn't pay salaries, and that's what this all comes down to. The money, the cost, the commitment. Now let's be real. If the Browns were truly desperate, they might consider taking that leap. But are they? That's the million-dollar question. Looking at their current quarterback depth, you got Kenny Pickett, a young, flawed, but experienced passer trying to restart his career. Joe Flacco, the veteran who bailed them out late last season. And then two intriguing rookies in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, who bring potential but plenty of question marks. It's not a murderous row of quarterbacks, but it's not exactly hopeless either. For Cleveland to say we need Cousins or we have no shot, things would have to spiral pretty badly in camp. And right now, we're just not there yet. It's June. There's still time for Pickett or one of the young guys to step up. There's also the chemistry angle to consider. Bringing in Kirk Cousins, a strong personality with an established way of doing things, could disrupt the flow in a locker room that's already trying to gel around Flacco and Pickett. It's not always easy to toss a big-name quarterback into a mix and expect everything to go smoothly. And if Stefanski is thinking long-term, which he probably is, then building with a younger quarterback might make more sense. Even if Cousins gives them a higher floor in 2025, does he give them a higher ceiling? Is he the guy that takes them over the hump in the AFC North, one of the most competitive divisions in football, or is he just another stopgap solution in a long list of temporary band-aids? And let's not forget about the fans. Browns Nation has been through the ringer when it comes to quarterbacks. There's always excitement when a new name is floated, especially one with Cousins' stature, but there's also skepticism. This fan base knows the dangers of swinging big or missing even bigger. Watson was supposed to be the answer, and now he's become a financial albatross, at least temporarily. So while Cousins would bring a measure of stability, he wouldn't exactly spark a revolution. He's not the kind of QB who lights up highlight reels or sells jerseys by the truckload. He's solid, steady, but he's also expensive, aging, and not guaranteed to win you playoff games. That's a tough sell, even in a city starving for wins. So where does this leave us? In the same place we started, with a loaded quarterback. Room, a recovering Deshaun Watson, and a front office trying to balance potential with practicality. Jeremy Fowler's proposal is the kind of off-season fodder that makes sports talk fun. And chaotic. It's grounded in real connections and needs, but weighed down by financial reality. It shows just how quickly the NFL can shift, and how even a team with too many quarterbacks can still be one injury or one decision away from a major shakeup. Could Kirk Cousins end up in Cleveland? Sure. Is it likely? Especially under these conditions? Not really. But as always with the Browns, don't count anything out until it's truly off the table. Until then, the Browns QB carousel keeps spinning. Maybe Kenny Pickett proves his doubters wrong and seizes a job. Maybe Joe Flacco delivers another miracle run. Maybe one of the rookies explodes onto the scene, or maybe, just maybe, someone in that front office picks up the phone and calls. Atlanta! Stranger things have happened in the NFL. This time of year is all about possibilities and drama. And with Kirk Cousins' name now floating around Cleveland once again, don't be surprised if this story continues to gain momentum. Whether it ends in a blockbuster trade or fizzles out with a firm no thanks, one thing's for sure, the Browns are never boring. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on tight because the NFL world has just been rocked by one of the most unexpected and sensational rumors of the year. Yes, you heard that right. Word on the street is that Travis KELCE, the legendary tight end who defined an era with the Kansas City Chiefs, is reportedly packing his bags and heading home to Cleveland. That's right. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise long known for its roller coaster of emotions, may have just pulled off the coup of the century by signing none other than KELCE himself. And get this, insiders are already whispering that this move is not just about football, it's about making history, putting the Browns back in the Super Bowl, and delivering the parade that this city has been dreaming about for generations. Right down the iconic Euclid Avenue. Now I know what you're thinking. Travis KELCE, a Cleveland Brown. It almost sounds too good to be true. But let's break it down. KELCE was born and raised just outside of Cleveland in Westlake, Ohio. He's a hometown hero, a kid who grew up watching the Browns struggle through decades of heartbreak. And now, at the peak of his career with multiple Super Bowl rings and a surefire Hall of Fame resume, rumors say he's finally ready to come full circle and bring that championship mentality back to where it all began. Sources close to the situation are hinting that KELCE has been quietly meeting with Browns officials, discussing not just a contract, but a vision for the future of Cleveland football. And here's where it gets even juicier, folks. Apparently, This isn't just a feel-good hometown story. According to some reports floating around the league, KELCE allegedly made one very bold promise during these negotiations. He looked Browns executives dead in the eye and guaranteed, yes, guaranteed that if they signed him, there would be a Super Bowl parade down Euclid Avenue. Imagine that visual. Confetti raining down on Clevelanders, the Lombardi trophy held high, and Travis Kelce at the center of it all. That's the kind of swagger and leadership the Browns have been missing, and it's exactly what could turn this long-suffering franchise into a legitimate powerhouse. Now, let's not forget the Browns' current situation. They already have a stacked roster with one of the best defenses in the league and a quarterback who, when healthy and focused, can sling it with the best of them. Adding Kelce to that mix? That's not just adding a weapon, that's adding a game changer, a locker room leader, and one of the most clutch postseason performers the NFL has ever seen. The mere presence of Kelce on the field would force defenses to completely reshape their game plans. The Browns' red zone efficiency would skyrocket, and suddenly Cleveland would become a nightmare matchup for every team in the AFC. But let's be real, there are skeptics out there. Some analysts are questioning whether this is just smoke and mirrors a clever play by Kelce's camp to leverage a better deal from Kansas City. After all, the Chiefs are still very much in their Super Bowl window, and Kelce has an almost telepathic connection with Patrick Mahomes. Would he really walk away from that dynasty in the making, or is this all just part of the negotiation chess game that top-tier athletes play when they're looking for that one last massive contract? Whatever the case may be, the very idea of Kelce suiting up in orange and brown is enough to set the internet ablaze. And speaking of the internet, social media is already in a frenzy. Browns fans are losing their minds, photoshopping images of Kelce in Cleveland jerseys and mapping out parade routes along Euclid Avenue. Local businesses are jumping on the hype train, with some bars and restaurants reportedly preparing Kelce specials just in case the deal goes through. Even some of Kelce's old high school teammates have been dropping cryptic tweets, suggesting that the move is closer to reality than anyone realizes. This isn't just a rumor anymore, it's a full-blown movement, a wave of optimism that could redefine the Browns' identity for the next decade. Of course, if this does happen, it would mark one of the most emotional and poetic homecomings in NFL history. Think about it. The kid from Cleveland who made it big, winning multiple championships and becoming a global superstar, only to return home to deliver the one thing the city has wanted more than anything else, a Super Bowl title. It's the kind of story that Hollywood would reject for being too cliche, yet here we are dissecting every little piece of gossip, every vague Instagram post, and every insider hint as if we're decoding the NFL's version of the Da Vinci Code. From a football standpoint, the fit makes perfect sense. The Browns' offensive scheme could use a dynamic tight end like Kelce to open up the middle of the field, create mismatches against linebackers, and serve as a security blanket for the quarterback. Not to mention his experience and leadership would be invaluable in the postseason, where Cleveland has often faltered in recent years. Kelce brings not just talent, but also the kind of winning pedigree and mental toughness that could finally push the Browns over the top. It's not just about stats. It's about changing the culture of a team that's been mired in mediocrity for far too long. And let's not overlook the business implications of this potential blockbuster move. The Browns would instantly become one of the hottest tickets in the NFL. Merchandise sales would explode, national TV appearances would multiply, and Cleveland would be transformed from a football punchline into a legitimate contender. The economic boost to the city could be massive, with Euclid Avenue, the street Kelce supposedly promised would host the parade, becoming an iconic symbol of the Browns' renaissance. Local officials are probably already fantasizing about how to handle the logistics of such a historic celebration, from crowd control to confetti cleanup. So, where does that leave us? Right now, it's still just a rumor, albeit a very compelling and well-sourced one. The NFL offseason is always filled with surprises, but this would be the kind of seismic shift that alters the balance of power in the league. Browns fans are daring to dream while the rest of the NFL world watches with bated breath. Could Travis Kelce really be the missing piece that brings a Lombardi trophy to Cleveland? Could Euclid Avenue soon be the site of the most epic Super Bowl parade in football history? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This story is far from over, and we'll be keeping a close eye on every single development. Stay tuned. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you like the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!